There you go. All right, let's wash it out with some good news. The wonderful Yongya has compiled a list of the general reviews of Shadow of the Erdtree. Yongya is a great content creator. He's one of those people that Alyssa Mercante has gone against as well. By the way, he's a really nice guy. He does voice acting himself. I'm sharing the video. Give it a like, give it a sub, share with your friends. He's a great content creator. Let's see what he says about Shadow of the Erdtree. Let's get hyped, man. This is to get hyped.
Okay, this is actually insane. So Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree comes out in a few days, and we're
Today. We're watching this late, I think.
starting to see reviews this morning. I myself did get a review copy and put about 20 hours into it. It still feels like I'm nowhere near done. This feels like a repeat.
Yeah, what I saw from I think it was Asmongold. I think he said it was just like a short little like diatribe that he had. He said that it doesn't feel like a DLC. It feels like a literal new game. Like it feels like its own like actual game, which is so cool, man. This is and I want to point out, Fromsoftware has not had a bad DLC that I know of. Every single DLC from Dark Souls 1 to 2 to 3, I don't know about Bloodborne, but I heard that one's good as well, to obviously now Elden Ring. Every single one of them is a banger. Dark Souls 1 had a lot of pain points. The 2 DLCs for them, I can tell you from no shadow of any doubt, they were borderline perfect. Like, they were absolutely amazing. Everything from the Artorias fight to the painting and everything like that. Holy smokes, man! Those DLCs cooked. And then Dark Souls 2, which is a lot of people's least favorite Dark Souls. Personally, I think they're crazy. It's my favorite Dark Souls. I love Dark Souls 2. I think people need to look back after playing Elden Ring to Dark Souls 2, because a lot of the things that you love in Elden Ring were started. And it was like the groundwork was laid in Dark Souls 2. Everything from the sweeping vistas to the really long elevator rides to power stancing and the power stancing style mechanic and everything like that, mixing weapons and so on. All of that stuff was Dark Souls 2. And that is why people love Elden Ring. In many, many ways. Like, all the things that people describe, they're like, oh man, I really love this about Elden Ring. I'm like, well, guess what? That's from Dark Souls 2. It makes me really happy because it's like, kind of like because like Dark Souls 2 has a lot of jank and that's why people didn't like it. I totally understand that. That is totally fine. But they did a lot of like, what's it called? What's the term I'm looking for, guys? They pushed the boundaries a lot in Dark Souls 2, which is why it was so great. But even regardless, even considering Dark Souls 2 and how, I guess uneven the liking of it is, a lot of people think it's the least favorite. Everyone says how good the DLCs are. There were actually 3 DLCs for Dark Souls 2. Poison, Fire, and then Ice. And every single one of them was absolutely full on, top tier, shadow of a doubt, just beyond a shadow of a doubt, just absolute bangers. And even people who don't like Dark Souls 2, it's like, yeah, the DLCs are really good. And then Dark Souls 3 caps off, the end of the trilogy of Dark Souls with some of the best DLC play I've ever seen in any game ever. With the entirety of the painted world of Ariandel just essentially ending the world. And it was just like poetic, it was gorgeous, it was poignant, it was powerful. Like, oh my god, it was a love. That entire painted world of Ariandel DLC was a literal love letter to Dark Souls. Written by Fromsoftware to us, the gamer. It felt personal. It was like, it brings chills down my spine just talking about it with you guys. It was just something special. And so, I am the least surprised person ever that Elden Ring's DLC is like straight up the highest rated DLC of all time. And spoiler alert, I did see that little headline on Twitter earlier that if you go for like, Metacritic numbers, Elden Ring DLC is the highest rated DLC of all time. And it is deserved. It is absolutely deserved. So let's see what Young Ya says about it.
Of the base game's review cycle, where I thought I can probably finish this before the embargo, and I was nowhere close to done.
I wish
I'd
gotten in, man.
Even after like 50.
My goal is to grow large enough as a content creator that I can actually get review codes for things like this. I would love that. I would love that so much. I would love to showcase these things with you guys. I would love to create content with all of these things for you guys. Like, that would be, oh my god, that's my dream. Like, that is actually my dream. That is my goal. Partner, I mean, it'd be cool. But this, being able to do these things and create these things for you guys, that is my real goal. That is my real goal. I want you all to know. And Ulfric, welcome back, buddy.
50 some hours put into it. With this DLC, 20 hours in, it feels like I'm about maybe 2/5 of the way through, based on the progress that I've been making and how much of the map.
So 20 hours, 2/5. And that's a guess. So the DLC is at least 50 hours long.
I've explored, but even then, I don't know all the nooks and crannies and secrets that lurk in
People
this
will be finding
massive,
the
utterly
secrets for the next year.
Expansion. And now seeing what the review scores look like,
oh my
it is
God.
actually...
Let's read it. Elden Ring was a massive endeavor and success instead of coasting. And they're just going to say, like, just why? But why, though? Why is it so good? Oh, my Lord. Real game in its own right. Generous, powerful, and almost perfect execution. 1939, buddy. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the Quarry Crew. It is a pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to have you in here, buddy. We're discussing the pre-release and getting hyped for Shadow of the Erdtree. And we have a special trailer to watch afterwards as well. Welcome, buddy. Pleasure to meet you. We're playing, we've been playing Elden Ring all night. And we played it all of last night. And I put my first play of Elden Ring on YouTube. That was the first stream out of all of this current run, which is my first real run. And yeah, it's exciting, man. We're having a lot of fun, buddy. Welcome to the Quarry Crew. It's my first Let's Play ever as well, so a lot of milestones for me. But I think it's particularly poignant for Elden Ring, because Elden Ring is already, I've not even finished the game. We just beat Radahn yesterday. It's my favorite game of all time in terms of Dark Souls games. And it is absolutely, like, I would say it's my favorite action RPG of all time. Just straight up. Like, it's hard for me to pick, like, a top game ever, but it's, like, probably neck and neck between Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate 3. I mean, like, two sides of different, like, two sides of a coin, but, like, they're both amazing. They're just, it's hard for me to pick, like, a favorite child, you know?
Crazy. And this game, this DLC... might just break a record. Looking at
it already
the
is.
Overall aggregate metascore from over 50 reviews, we're looking at a universal acclaim metascore of 95%.
And
I don't know.
One of the reasons it's only 95, by the way, is because Eurogamer is weird, and they rated Eurogamer rated Elden Ring as a 3 out of 5. They rated Shadow of the Erdtree as a 3 out of 5, which is, they're just like, what? Who? What? Why? Why would you do this? What is wrong with you?
Oh, if we've ever seen this score in a DLC or in an expansion, and look, we're talking about an era in games where a lot of expansions have gotten incredible acclaim. It wasn't long ago that Destiny 2, The Final Shape, launched to great acclaim from...
I heard it was really good. And also, to add to that, apparently Cyberpunk 2077's DLC was, like, mind-blowingly good as well. And that's really nice. Like, I didn't get the DLC yet. I didn't play the DLC yet. But what I did play was, the free update that came with it, where they just updated the entire game from top to bottom and just made it just, like, a good game, which is insane. And they did it completely for free. That free DLC that they did, that was, like, really huge for me.
critics and fans alike.
Yeah, I heard
that's
it's really
sitting
good.
at a Metascore of 90%, which is still very
He is
freaking
moving
good.
his head.
And then when you think of great expansions and DLCs, you think of, say, Witcher 3, Blood and Wine.
Right.
That's sitting at
Right.
a 92% from
Dude, and this is like one of the best DLCs ever. And it's only a 92%.
roughly 50
Only,
critic
but, you know,
reviews.
compare.
And then moving on to, say, Cyberpunk 2077
There it
Phantom
is.
Liberty, which had a rough start, but made up for it with an expansion that delivered and with various updates that overhaul the game.
Yeah.
This DLC sitting at an 89%, so on and so forth. You think of Final Fantasy XIV's expansions like Endwalker, which is sitting...
Oh, wow. Endwalker was 92, comparing it with Elden Ring. So Elden Ring's DLC is 95. It actually might be the highest rated DLC of all time, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Holy smokes, man. I mean, honestly, I'm not really surprised.
At a 92% Metascore, or Shadowbringers, which is sitting at a 90% Metascore.
Right.
But I don't know of a single DLC, despite this incredible array
It's a good question,
of expansions and DLCs. I don't know of a single one that has actually achieved a Metascore of 95%. And those like extra few percentages beyond, 92 or whatever, that takes a lot to get there. It takes such universal agreement that something is a masterpiece that it drives a score to that level. And that's a general agreement that this DLC is a masterpiece. Having put 20 hours into it, again, I still feel like I've not seen the best this DLC has to offer. But
well, it's a cool build. This little curved sword build is pretty badass. I like that. That's pretty cool, man.
I will tell you that there are very few games in this world right now that I can play for hours and hours on end without having to take a break.
Here's an example, and I completely agree with him. I made 10 different characters for Elden Ring when Elden Ring first came out, just absolutely destroying my hand. And I just played through the beginning of the game. Just Limgrave and Stormvale Castle over and over and over again with all kinds of wacky different builds. Double daggers, double claws, double this, double whips. Like just seeing if there was something bad. And there was nothing bad. Everything is viable. Everything feels fun. Which is crazy. Which is absolutely crazy. That just shows how genius Elden Ring is. And this DLC just being icing on the cake, doing the exact same thing, is just, I mean, just magnificent, really. Like, it's just magnificent. It's well-deserved.
Break. And Elden Ring did that for me, and Shadow of the Erdtree did that for me again. I found myself losing track of time with Shadow of the Erdtree, playing, 6 hours at a time or whatever, and maybe more.
That's been us this week with our first play of Elden Ring, guys. For the past 2 weeks, every single time we play Elden Ring, it ends up like I see the light shining outside, the sun is there, I hear the birds chirping outside the window and everything. And it's daytime. It's literally the morning right now. And it's because I lose track of time. And it's not a bad thing. It's the best thing possible.
And this is an expansion that is essentially more Elden Ring.
Right.
But does so competently. Does so with such freshness. Because the bosses...
Also, I'm really glad that he's only showing this, like, small area, and he's just, like, mindlessly killing mobs, as opposed to anything spoiler. I wouldn't expect Yongya to show spoilers. That'd be shocking if he ever did. But I'm just glad that he's not. I'm just saying I'm glad that he's not.
Are also... I mean, the bosses are my favorite part of a FromSoft game. It's the stuff that I look forward to most. And the bosses in this game are not only incredibly designed and are some of the craziest looking...
That's exciting because, like, I mean, so far I've liked a lot of the bosses, but the one that really wowed me is Radahn. And I'm really hoping that, like, the bosses get even better and better. And Godskin Apostle was really cool as well. Like, Godskin Apostle, that was a hard fight. Like, that was... I had to learn that fight for sure. Elden Ring is my reminder, Ulfric says, that games could be good if companies just tried to make one. Fromsoftware is my favorite company. Yeah, I would say that there are two, like, companies that are not exactly considered AAA, but, the quality is AAA level. And they're the ones that I trust. It's literally Larian Studios and From Software. That is it. There is a reason that Elden Ring's DLC is the only thing I have pre-ordered this entire year. I don't pre-order games anymore. Even if they look good, even if they look right up my alley, something I'm going to love, and so on and so forth, I don't pre-order games anymore. The only game I have pre-ordered is From Software's Elden Ring DLC. That's it. And if Larian Studios made a DLC for Baldur's Gate 3, I'd pre-order that as well. But they already said that they won't. It's totally fair. I totally understand. They're working on the next big thing. I'm excited for that. And but when they come out with their game, Ulfric, when Larian Studios comes out with their next game, I will pre-order that as well. and those are the only games I will pre-order. Take care, Rach. Have a great night. Thank you for hopping on in.
Creatures and entities you've ever seen. Just the battles themselves and their attacks and moves, and it's all so beautifully realized and presented. And beyond that, they are tough as hell.
Hell yeah.
FromSoft is getting better better at essentially upping the difficulty. They know that FromSoft players, they know that Soulsborne players are just getting too good at this game, are getting better and better with each new entry. And so FromSoft has to step up the difficulty, and they're definitely doing that. Some of these bosses are going to take you a while to beat. In fact, plenty of reviews out there already saying that this DLC might feature some of the hardest, if not the potentially hardest, bosses that we've ever seen from.
Oh yeah, the no-hit community. Oh dude, I mean, I have mad respect for anyone who can no-hit an Elden Ring or any From Software game or anything like that. I can't do it. The only no-hits I've been able to do is Resident Evil 3 Remake and Resident Evil 2 Remake. And I love zombie games. I love Resident Evil. And yeah, Resident Evil 3 Remake was a really easy no-hit. I'm not going to lie. It was like, there were some difficult parts, but it wasn't that hard to learn. Resident Evil 2 Remake was very difficult to no-hit. That was a fun no-hit to learn. Like, that one was hard. Like, that one was very difficult. And that was before I did YouTube. I wish I'd been able to put that up on YouTube. But those VODs are long gone. Those VODs are long gone, unfortunately. But we did that on stream. So, you can get the proof of the pudding from Lana, who was here for the entire thing. Mist was here for a chunk of it as well. Looking forward to is the bosses that are generally hard. Yeah, exactly, Ulfric. I'm excited for that as well, man. I'm excited for that as well. Orphan of Kos. Is that, which one is that? I have not played Sekiro, and I've only played 2 hours of Bloodborne. So if it's from those, that might be why I don't recognize that name. But yeah.
Soft game, and I'm sure there'll be ways people can use and exploit Elden Ring's
of course
just expansive mechanical kind of complexities to be able to come up with intricate solutions and whatever. But I play very traditionally,
Bloodborne,
where I just kind of have melee weapons and go at it like a sort of a more traditional Dark Souls style gameplay experience.
That's how I do it. I mean, dude, we're gonna be bringing the Guts Greatsword in here,
and playing it that way, like it is quite the challenge. And I'm someone who refuses to use ashes and summons and whatnot, but that option is there for those who prefer to go that route, and nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
just stick to that traditional. I'm gonna beat this boss by myself kind of an experience. And the bosses just are awesome, and I don't want to spoil much more than that.
Yeah, don't. Please don't spoil anything.
Just that alone, the introduction of the new weapons and the sheer variety of new weapon types, and how much it expands the possibilities of the way you can play this game, and how it makes the combat feel new again, is a big part of the draw and appeal of Shadow of the Erdtree. I discovered my new favorite weapons.
We're skipping over that part. Don't want to know. I'll cut that out of the VOD.
freaking awesome when you master it and know how to dodge and weave around point. So when I do find those, who knows? Maybe I'll gravitate towards a new weapon and combat will feel fresh.
I mean, dude, some of the DLC weapons from like original Dark Souls, I mean 1, 2, and 3, those DLC weapons are like, holy crap! The ice rapiers in Dark Souls 2, man, those were so cool. That was a Frost DLC. I remember that. Fume Knight Greatsword was like, you know, a mainstay for so many builds and so many like top tier 10 lists in Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 3, I mean, oh god, there was so many. The dual great swords that were like power stanceable. We could like split them up into two. Oh my god, man. It reminds me of Radahn's swords actually from Dark Souls 3.
To really,
he's showing way too much. So we're going to end the video right here for Young. He's you know, it's awesome that he's having a lot of fun, but I don't want to see anything more. Absolutely not. But thank you, Young Yeah, for that video. It was great. And I completely agree. We're going to end it with something beautiful, guys. We're going to end it for something beautiful.